Hey everyone, welcome to my first official editing tutorial for Scanlation. The first thing we'll be learning about is how to clean a manga page with color correction non-destructively. I'll be making this video into a few different parts here so it's more digestible by giving this to you in smaller portions, simply due to this being an important part of Scanlation. We'll have part 1 with me going over the mode or format of the image, part 2 with what most people do with color correction, and then the third part as my personal preference. Before we begin, I'd like to tell you about what program I'm using, which is Photoshop CS5. You're welcome to use different programs, but I'll be very little help with users who use GIMP as I have zero experience with it. If you are using Photoshop, I do suggest a program no older than CS4, since a lot of the techniques I use were CS4 specific and carried over to CS5. On the left side of my screen here, you're going to see a raw manga page, and on the right side you'll see a manga page after its color correction. When it comes to a raw manga page, unless it's your own scan, you'll rarely come across a page in a pure raw state where it has not been altered in some sort of way. Most scanners, before releasing it to the public, do some sort of color correction before going ahead and making it public. While that seems helpful, you'll always have more control over a raw manga page versus one that may not have been color corrected properly. You don't know how much detail was lost, and you certainly don't want to lose more, but unless you have your own scans, it certainly won't be avoidable. So let's bring our focus to the raw manga page and cleaning it up non-destructively. We're first going to have to see what format or mode we're using, and we can go ahead and do that by going up to Image, hovering over Mode, and you can see your options here. And as you can see right now, we're on indexed mode. If we have a typical black and white manga page like we have here, you're going to want to go to grayscale mode, where we're offered up to 255 different shades of gray. Whereas on indexed color mode, we have colors stored and indexed with what's available in the color lookup table, which is also known as CLUT, which is C-L-U-T, color lookup table. The problem with this is that the color is not available within the index. The program will automatically choose the closest color available, which can really end up limiting you. When it comes to RGB mode and CMYK mode, which is red, green, and blue, and cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, these are going to be your colored formats. To keep it simple, you would typically use RGB for digital media, which is what we're going to be doing. And CMYK is used more so for printing. So if you have a colored image, just go ahead and stick with RGB. But let's go ahead and change our page right here to grayscale mode. You're going to get a few messages here, and it's going to ask you if you want to discard the color information, where you can go ahead and click OK. If you have multiple layers, you're going to get additional messages asking if you want to, quote, flatten or combine all your layers, and you can just select Don't Flatten. Now that we're a little bit more familiar with the color modes available to us on Photoshop, let's go ahead and head over to part 2, where we can actually look at color correction and what most people do in Scanlation.